Hey, this is just a little disclaimer. I am an idiot, and I recorded my SmackDown review, and I said that it was WrestleMania or WrestleMania. I said it was episode 14, which in actuality was episode 15. So I just wanted to put like this little like video before the episode dropped, just to let everyone know that it was episode 15 that I messed up, and I thought about re-recording the whole thing, but I figured I'll just let it fly. I even got the text wrong. The text even says episode 14. So it's Warren's Vlog, season 2, episode 15. So I'm going to put this before the video so that you know this is 15 and the last one was 14. All right, you guys have a nice night. All right, what's up? It's your boy Warren Freeman. This is episode 14, and I am about to review Smackdown from yesterday. I just got done watching it, and so here we go. They start the show off with the Bianca Homecoming recap. They recap what happened. I talked about how predictable it was that Becky was going to interrupt, and I went over that last week. So Becky Lynch comes out and claims that she was provoked into attacking Bianca last week, even though it was Becky who interrupted the ceremony in the first place. Then Bianca comes out and says, "Yeah, you may have beat me at SummerSlam, but that's not going to happen this Sunday." Becky Lynch is still trying to get Esther over. I mean, I guess if you don't succeed, try again, but it's not getting over with me. I'll say that. And Bianca makes really valid points about how she basically did everything that Becky did. She matched everything that Becky did, but did it quicker. So Bianca won the Royal Rumble. Becky won the Royal Rumble. Bianca main evented WrestleMania, as did Becky did. And they both were obviously former SmackDown Women's Champions. And also Bianca is won an ESPY. So she drops the Birdman line and says, "Put some respect on my name." And she makes a point why she is the quickest, because she did all that in a quarter of the time that Becky did. So after that, Becky slaps Bianca. Then Bianca scoops her up into the KOD and lays her out. Well, Becky attempts to do the Rock Bottom. I'm not calling it the manhandle slam. I'm not. We're not going to go over that again. So Becky attempts the Rock Bottom, and Bianca counters into the KOD. This week was a lot smoother how they did the transitions. Last week was just slow as hell. It's like they were moving in slow motion. And I talked about that last week. Also, in WWE London, I guess Bianca and Becky wrestled for the women's title. I'm assuming, obviously, Becky retained. But maybe them working a house show circuit has knocked some of the ring rust off of Becky and given them a chance to get their match ready for the pay-per-view. That's the object of house show matches, anyhow. So that was the first segment of the show. I gave that a like. Apollo Crews versus Nakamura was next for the Intercontinental Championship. I kind of thought Apollo Crews might win due to the fact that they're having a draft next week, and they just casually announced that it would take place next week. So the first night of the draft is going to be October 1st, and then the second night will be October 4th. I guess I'll talk about the draft now. Last time I covered the draft on this channel was 2016. So I'll when I do the draft shows, I'll post a link in the description for the 2016 draft if you guys want to watch that. I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to do the draft this year. I think I'm going to just cover SmackDown and Raw like I normally do. And then like on the SmackDown draft episode, I'll just report on who got drafted to SmackDown. And then on Raw, I'll just report on who got drafted to Raw and get my thoughts on it. I think that's how I'm going to do it. Um, Big Big E kind of gave away the fact that they're going to be doing the Raw versus SmackDown thing, Survivor Series again this year, and I talked about that last week in my episode, SmackDown episode. And I just with the draft happening a month before Survivor Series, I don't understand how you can have brand loyalty, but whatever. So back to Apollo Crews and Nakamura. Apollo Crews press slammed Nakamura on the outside of the ring, and I thought that was dope. Like I really thought that was cool. This match was hard hitting. The ending came when Nakamura countered the angle slam into an arm drag, and then it looked like Nakamura was going to do an arm bar, but then just cradled him and pinned him for the 1-2-3. So that was a really good match, hard hitting. I like when Nakamura was going for the Kinshasa and Apollo Crews countered with like an insecurity. Like that was kind of cool. That was awesome. Might be match of the night if I'm being honest. Really good match. And I'm assuming the champions are up for grab too as far as being drafted. So that should be interesting. Then we get a Montez Ford interview. He has 2 interviews tonight for some reason. The first one, he says that Roman treats his cousins like bloodline bitches. And then he says they're going to take back the tag titles this Sunday at Extreme Rules. So then we cut to another location backstage where Paul Heyman basically gets in Roman's ears. Like, did you hear what he just said? Like, he just called your cousins bloodline bitches. And Roman Reigns, with his calm, threatening demeanor, like, yeah, I want a match with Montez Ford tonight. Paul Heyman's like, well, in 48 hours, you're going to be defending the Universal title against the Demon Finn Balor. And I don't think that. And then Roman just looks at him like, Paul Heyman's like, okay, I'll make it happen. Roman Reigns is like, wise man, why are you still here? The Paul Heyman's like, oh, I'll make it happen. We go to commercial break. We come back to commercial break, and we're cut to another location backstage. And Paul Heyman asks Adam and Sonya to make the match official. And I say, yeah, I think we can do that. So the match has been made official. Our main event tonight is going to be Roman Reigns versus Montez Ford. Then we do the Rollins promo recap. His promo that he cut last week, which I praised. And then they basically cut the same promo again this week. The only difference being that he wants an answer by next week, which Edge responds on Twitter later on in the show and says he will be at SmackDown next week. Then we go to Liv Morgan versus Zelina Vega. I gave this match a dislike. Number 1, I don't like wrestlers on commentary. I feel like that distracts from the match, although Carmella is a welcome distraction because she's hot as hell. But nonetheless, it's still a distraction from the match. The match wasn't good. Zelina Vega had a nice little dragon sleeper on Liv Morgan at one point. Then Liv Morgan did the same move that she did to Zelina Vega that she did to Carmella last week. That got Carmella out of her seat. Well, she was sitting on the announce table, antagonizing Michael Cole. And this is something else I want to bring up about Pat McAfee. I had the same problem with JBL back on this channel when I was reviewing shows in 2016, 2017. Like, pick a fucking side. You know, Pat McAfee in this same show jumps on the back of Sonya Deville for the Naomi shit, which I'll get to later. Jumps all over Baron Corbin, still calls him a scumbag, but yet is on Carmella's ass. And yet kisses Roman Reigns' ass. Like, you can't be a selective heel. If you're going to be a heel, you got to be a heel for everybody. Don't straddle the fence. And I fucking hate that. I do. I had to get that off my chest. So, anyway, the match, back to Zelina Vega and Liv Morgan. So we do the whole wrestler gets distracted trope that I hate. And, so after Carmella does after Liv Morgan does the turnbuckle spot to Zelina Vega, Carmella goes to the ring, Liv attacks her, and then Zelina Vega hits the the code red and pins Liv Morgan. I have a problem with this match because, for one, I mean, unless you're going to have Liv Morgan win Sunday, then why would you have her losing momentum going into the pay-per-view match? And again, the match was bad, and it just seemed like it was a waste of time. All right, so then we go to the Happy Corbin spending montage, where they play this video clip of Corbin spending money in Philadelphia. And then we go to a talk show, and I'm at the point now where I loathe the talk shows on WWE television. Miz TV really ruined it for me, week after week after week. And then you had the Moist TV, and then you got the KO show, and now we got the Happy show or Happy Talk. And I love how Corbin comes out and says this is not going to be like every other talk show, but yet it is like every other talk show. Except it's more cringeworthy because Corbin announces himself as his own guest. And then, predictably, KO comes out. He gets jumped by some guy in a hoodie. I have no idea who this is. The announcers don't say who it is. If they did, then I completely missed it. They double choke slam KO on the steel steps, and that's the end of the segment. So I gave that a dislike. All right, moving on. We go to a second Montez Ford interview where he sings "Bloodline Bitches," and it's so funny. Basically says the same thing that he said earlier. Well, Caleb Braxton asked him if he regrets what he said, and that's when he sang the "Bloodline Bitch" thing. And then he basically says, my mouth got me a major opportunity tonight against the Universal Champion. And Street Profits are up and we want the smoke. And that's it for that. Then we go to Nikki Ash versus Natalya. Talk about a heatless match. Man, this match had no heat. Natalya had her cradled, and then Tamina got on the apron, and then Rhea Ripley knocked her off the apron, and then Nikki Cross countered the cradle and pinned her 1, 2, 3. The best part of this is when Shotzi and Nox came out on their tank and fired an invisible missile at them. That was great. I loved it. I gave it a like. Then Dom and Rey Mysterio argue backstage, and Dominic says, to his dad, you say you want me to be on my own, but yet you're in my face every week. And if it weren't for you, I would have beaten Sami Zayn, being at ringside. So Rey says, you know what? I'm going to give you some space right now because you're not thinking clearly. Then Sami Zayn creeps up from behind and says, you know what? I'm going to give you some advice. But before that, he compliments him and says, each time you've been in the ring with me, you've gotten better. So, I want to give you some advice. Listen to your dad less and trust your instincts more. I gave this a like because I feel like this is really teasing the breakup between Dominic and Rey Mysterio. And I'm telling you, I have been wanting this for years. I have, man. So hopefully we get it. Maybe what if Dominic joins up with Sami Zayn and becomes a tag team? That would be awesome. So I gave that a like. I really like that interaction. Naomi makes her entrance, and my first thought was, okay, so we're just gonna get a match with no explanation after she was fine last week. And of course we don't get a match. Naomi cuts a promo, basically saying that she wants a match. Sonya Deville comes out and says, hey, it's not going to happen. She sends security out there. And Sonya Deville has 2 great lines in this segment. The first one was why don't you go backstage and TikTok your dance or TikTok your way into obscurity. I fucked it up. But the other one was, everyone knows after your entrance is downhill from there. Sonya Deville had some lines that hit hard. The other line that I forgot about, I'm gonna mention it too. Sonya's like, well, why don't you? Well, Naomi was like, why don't you have a match? Make the match between me and you. And Sonya Deville was like, what would happen if we wrestled? I'd slap the taste out of your mouth or something like that. Basically says, I'm not a wrestler. I'm a WWE official now. And again, I don't mean to shit on Liv Morgan and Carmella. I actually like them both, but I really feel like Naomi and Sonya Deville should have a pay per view match, or maybe like I feel like that's more deserving to be on pay per view than Liv Morgan and Carmella. And I talked about it last Monday night when I did, or last Tuesday when I did my Raw review. I feel like Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax should be on pay per view over Liv Morgan and Carmella. Extreme Rules has 6 matches Sunday, and I actually thought about just combining the 2 videos together and just doing my predictions in this video, but I'm gonna keep the video separate. But yeah, so I gave that a like. So you had 3 segments. This episode of Smackdown was filled with backstage segments and just like promos and shit. And each, like I said, 3 segments in a row I gave it a like. So Usos, it's main event time. Usos are backstage with Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman. They're accompanying Roman, and Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman kind of branch off, and then the Usos get stopped by the Alpha Academy, and then there's just like a stare down, and then we go to commercial break. This is interesting. I feel like the Alpha Academy should have been number 1 contenders anyway because they beat the Street Profits, and the Street Profits, despite that, the Street Profits were just given a tag title match. Well, no, I won't say that. The Street Profits did defeat the Usos 2 weeks in a row, and then it was made official on. But those matches were for the tag titles. So anyway, Alpha Academy deserve a shot at the tag titles, and I feel like that's an interesting way to start to build to that. I don't think it undermines the tag title match Sunday. If anything, I wouldn't be surprised if the Alpha Academy kind of interfered Sunday. But anyway, I'll get to that when I do my review or my predictions for Extreme Rules. So, main event time. Roman Reigns versus Montez Ford. This match was really competitive. It wasn't a squash, which is a good thing because it made Montez Ford, even in defeat, it made him a credible opponent and it made him look strong going into Extreme Rules for a tag title match. Apparently, Dawkins, his tag team partner, was at a wedding. Somebody got married. He wasn't on SmackDown. So it's a spot in the match where Montez Ford climbs on the announce table, and I guess he's gonna attempt a springboard off of it, and the table just breaks. And without Montez Ford just kind of stands there, and then he just runs and he just attacks Roman Reigns with a sledge. And then Pat McAfee is like, I wonder if it was my fat ass dancing on the table earlier. Which was a good line. Michael Cole says it probably was. Like, how great would that have been if that table would have gave while Pat McAfee was dancing on it? Like, that would be classic. Or if Carmella was sitting on it, and the table just broke. That would have been awesome. Anyway, so the main event continues. Roman Reigns goes for a Superman punch, and I like this slick counter that Montez Ford does. He counters a Superman punch into a DDT. That was really cool. The ending of the match came when Roman Reigns went for the frog splash. Roman used his knees to counter the frog splash, and then hooked in the guillotine. And this is just me, and I'm putting my booking hat on. I feel like a smoother way to do, they could have done that. I feel like is like if Montez Ford went for the frog splash and then Roman Reigns kind of cradled him into the guillotine. I feel like that would have been slick as fuck. But him throwing the knees up still got him in position for the guillotine, which I really like that move. I legitimately choked the guy out like that with that guillotine before. Someone tried to shoot on me, and it was a wrestling ring, and someone tried to shoot on me, and I choked him out. But anyway, sidebar over. Roman Reigns wins by submission. Paul Heyman gets on the mic and says, that's not enough. He deserves more for his sins. So you need to show him what it's like when Roman Reigns goes extreme. And of course, this gets a pop because they're in Philadelphia. ECW. Paul Heyman saying, take it to the extreme. So the Usos come out. They grab a steel chair. Roman Reigns beats the shit out of Ford with a steel chair, throws him on the outside of the ring. Um, gives them a rock bottom to the table. And then Roman Reigns was like, "Who's the bitch now?" Oh, then the lights go out, and the red lights come on, and then you see Finn Balor standing on the top turnbuckle, and he dives onto the bloodline, takes out the Usos with a kendo stick, attacks Roman Reigns, throws him in the ring. Well, Roman Reigns gets the advantage for a second. He tosses Finn Balor in the ring. Roman Reigns grabs the steel chair. Finn Balor hits the sling blade on Roman Reigns. Then Balor takes the steel chair and wears his ass out with a steel chair, by God. Hits both Usos in the head. Not like a chair shot like that, but like kind of rams the chair into both the Usos' heads as they try to get on the ring, get into the ring. And that gives Roman Reigns enough time to escape. And Finn Balor is standing strong. So there you go. That's the end of the show. So I tally up my likes, I tally up my dislikes, and I gave the show 6 likes and 3 dislikes. I'm gonna give the show a B minus. I feel like even though there were a lot of backstage segments and promos, I just personally feel like the quality of the show dipped a little bit from last week. And I felt like Raw was just a little bit better this week. But remember now, I'm not going to decide which show won for the week, and I'm not going to do my MVP of the week until after Extreme Rules. All right, so this is my Smackdown review coming up next. I got my pay-per-view review or pay-per-view prediction video, my pick'ems as I like to call them. And again, it's only 6 matches, so then I'm going to do that. Then I'm going to watch the show. Then I'm going to review the show. And then when I review Extreme Rules, then that's when I'll decide which show won for the week. And that's how it's going to go. All right. So this has been episode 14. And you guys have a wonderful night.